Welcome back to another episode of ScaleUp Radio Shorts. I'm Kevin Brent.
And I'm Louise Blunt. And as always, this show is brought to you by Smart 90, the proven 90-day execution system for scaling businesses.
This is our special monthly theme episode where we take a deep dive into one specific aspect of the entrepreneurial scale-up system. And Louise, this month's theme is a big one. It's something every single leader we work with struggles with at some point.
Absolutely, Kevin. We are talking about time, or more specifically, time mastery. We've titled this month's booklet, Get Control of Your Week Before It Gets Control of You.
It sounds simple, doesn't it? But we know that for the leader of a growing business, time is your scarcest resource. It's also the one that gets misused the most.
Exactly. It's so easy to fall into that trap of being incredibly busy, but not actually productive. You know the feeling reacting to fires rather than leading the ship, working in the business instead of on it.
We often say, physician, heal thyself. If we want to lead others effectively, we first have to be able to lead ourselves. So really, this isn't just a time management issue, it's a self-leadership issue. So
that's a great way to frame it. So let's dig into the core concept of the booklet. The solution we're proposing isn't just a to-do list, it's a practice called the default diary.
The default diary, it's a proactive weekly plan. Instead of waking up and checking your inbox to see what the world wants from you, the default diary is a structured view of how your time should be used to reflect your priorities.
It brings intention back to your week, and it's built on that classic Stephen Covey metaphor that I think most of our listeners will recognize, the jar with the rocks, pebbles, and sand.
Right. For those who haven't heard it, imagine a jar. If you fill it with sand first, that's your emails, your admin, the interruptions. There is no room left for the big rocks.
And in this metaphor, the rocks are your big strategic priorities, things like team development or building scaling systems. The pebbles are the essential but recurring tasks like sales meetings, and the sand is everything else.
The default diary flips the script. We schedule the rocks and pebbles first. We ring fence that time. Then and only then do we allow the sand to fit in around them.
It's almost counterintuitive because we're so used to clearing the sand first to make space for the big work. But the sand is infinite. It never stops. If you don't ring fence the time for the strategic work, it simply won't happen.
Now, this is where it connects back to the Smart 90 system. A default diary is only useful if you actually know what your rocks are.
That's the key. The default diary needs to be fed by a robust planning rhythm. That's the Smart 90 engine. Every 90 days, you define 5 to 7 key business priorities and 3 to 5 individual rocks per person.
Exactly. Each rock answers the question, what does good look like 90 days from now? When you sit down to create your default diary, you aren't guessing what to do. You are simply allocating time to the things you've already declared are the most important outcomes for the quarter.
It bridges the gap between strategy and execution. So, Kevin, let's walk our listeners through the practical guide in the booklet. How do we actually build this ideal week?
Well, step one is a bit of a reality check. You need to audit where your time goes now.
This can be painful.
It can be. You look back over your last 2 weeks and categorize your time into 3 colors. Green is strategic work only you can do. Red is operational work that could be delegated. And gray is filler or unclear value.
Simon Phillips, the diary detox expert, warns us that most people spend about 20% of their week on grey stuff. As a leader, you need to be shifting that balance heavily towards the green.
Once you've done the audit, step 2 is to identify your rocks and pebbles. Start with your Smart 90 rocks. Those are non-negotiable. Then add in your cookbook activities.
Cookbook activities. Those are the recurring behaviours that lead to results, right? Like specific sales calls or one-to-ones with your direct reports.
Precisely. Step 3 is where it gets interesting. Theme your days.
Oh, I love this one. It's about matching your tasks to your energy levels.
For example, many leaders find it works best to use Mondays for planning and team syncs. Then Tuesday through Thursday are for deep work and delivery. And Fridays might be for strategic thinking, review, or development.
There's a great example in the booklet from the Orange Notebook. The founder says, Thursdays, it's intro calls only. My energy is constant. It stops that context switching that drains us so much.
So you've audited, identified your rocks, and themed your days. Step 4 is to create your first draft. Overlay these blocks onto your current calendar. It won't be perfect immediately, but the goal is to ensure you don't layer anything else on top of those rocks.
And step 5, protect it with discipline.
That's the hardest part. You won't always stick to it 100%. But the difference is with a default diary, when you miss a rock, you know you missed it. You can reschedule it intentionally rather than just letting it vanish into the ether.
It's like a sat-nav. Think of Smart 90 as the map showing you where you want to go. The default diary is the sat-nav helping you stay on track week by week. If you take a wrong turn, it recalculates, but it keeps you heading to the destination.
I like that analogy, and this brings us to another critical point in the booklet, leading by letting go.
This is huge. One of the biggest unlocks in time leadership is knowing what not to do.
We use the discretionary leadership matrix for this. You have to assess which activities require your unique expertise, which can be taught, and which are low value and should be eliminated.
We had a quote from Doug Betts at Shaw Betts HR in the booklet. He said, "I realized I should be focusing on promoting the business, being the face of it, and carrying out the high-level work."
And Claire Loftus admitted, I end up becoming a bit of a blocker. People are waiting for me to come back. Your default diary highlights these bottlenecks. If your diary is full of red tasks, you are blocking your team's growth.
It's so true. By holding on to tasks, we aren't just hurting our own time management, we're denying our team the chance to step up.
Let's look at some real-world examples of how this changes businesses. We mentioned Anthony Marks from Fanattik.
Yes, for Anthony, the light bulb moment was realizing he needed to free up his time to focus only on things that would scale the business. It created the space for growth.
Then there's Jack Deverson at Evidence-Based Education. He implemented something called galvanizing weeks.
I like that term.
They set an agenda to bottom these things out. It aligns the team around shared priorities and commits specific time blocks to the big rocks.
And Paddy White at Virtual Diamond uses the default diary to ensure he has his weekly one-on-ones. He says it's a very good time to talk about problems and where help is needed. It embeds that coaching rhythm.
Speaking of rhythms, the booklet wraps up by reminding us that Smart 90 isn't just a quarterly plan. It supports an entire rhythm of execution. Smart daily huddles, Smart 7 weekly meetings, and the Smart 30 monthly check-ins.
These rhythms reinforce the default diary. When your diary reflects your Smart 90 plan, your calendar stops being a list of obligations and becomes a tool of culture and focus.
Absolutely. So for our listeners who want to put this into practice immediately, there is a 90-minute exercise outlined in the booklet.
It's broken down into 3 parts: review, redesign, and activate.
Review. Look back at your last 2 weeks. Categorize your tasks green, red, grey. Note the mismatches. Redesign. Identify your 5 key rocks. Allocate time for them and your cookbook activities. Sketch out that ideal week. Activate. Overlay it onto your real diary. And crucially, share it with a peer or your team. So
Accountability is key. If your team knows you are in deep work on Tuesday morning, they are less likely to disturb you.
to summarize, Louise, leadership is the act of choosing what matters and making time for it.
If you want to build a better business, build a better you.
That's the quote. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Each small improvement in how you use your week creates ripple effects throughout your entire company.
Well, that brings us to the end of this month's theme episode. We hope this has inspired you to take a hard look at your calendar and start building your own default diary.
If you want to dive deeper into these concepts, you can find out more about the Smart 90 system by visiting smart90.co.uk.
And if you want the full details of the exercise and the templates we discussed today, you can request a copy of the Get Control of Your Week booklet. Just email kevin@smart90.co.uk.
And one last thing before we go, if you'd like to stay focused and avoid drift, try our new AI accountability tool, Smart 90 Lite. It's free while we're testing it. Just email me, kevin@smart90.co.uk, and I'll send you a link.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time.